session on the way for you next. Are we still awake out there today? How are you doing? I'm sorry, what? Come on. Have you got? Yeah, we have got some energy in the room. That's good. Our next panel discussion is building a B2B Metaverse and figuring out payments for a virtual world. We've got a great lineup of panelists, and to introduce them, please welcome our moderator, Dexter Caffey. He's the founder and chief disruptor at Smart Eye Technology. Dexter, come to the stage.
Everyone, we are so excited to be here. I know you're tired, and we want to just keep things simple and short. We're going to go ahead and bring up our panel right now. We're going to go ahead and bring the panel up. You guys can come up here. Come on, panel. So what we're going to do today, we're going to talk about Metaverse, and we want to keep it simple. How many people in here ever took astronomy? How many people, show of hands, took astronomy class? Anybody in college took astronomy? You remember when they turned the lights down low? What did everybody do? Fall asleep. Well, today we don't want you to fall asleep. We're going to have some pretty exciting things for you to hear. We're going to be different today. We're going to talk about stories. We're not going to bore you with a lot of head knowledge, but stories of real things that actually happen. So right now, today, we're going to explain real quick, what is the Metaverse? So basically, at the end of the day, instead of using Zoom or any other type of media outlet like that, basically you saw here is 3D images, things that you saw on a screen, again, 3D images and things like that as well. And do you guys remember about 6 months ago, Justin Bieber? Justin Bieber did a song. You remember a few months ago, he did a song, a Justin Bieber song. Anybody see that, Metaverse? Nobody saw that? It was a song that he did. And so all of a sudden, you know, people start paying attention to it. So at the end of the day, we're going to have our amazing panel up here, and they're going to talk about some things. There it is, Justin Bieber. Okay, it was a little late. Absolutely. So at the end of the day, when the music was playing, everybody was so excited that Justin Bieber did this new Metaverse video, and it was really cool. So today, we're going to focus on, again, the Metaverse. And again, what does the word meta mean? The word meta simply means, it's a Greek word for which means next or beyond. Next or beyond. And the word verse, of course, comes from the word universe. So at the end of the day, in other words, it means the next universe at the end of the day. So again, at the end of the day, what we want to talk about is our panel. So I'm going to introduce Bulut. Bulut Bagci is the president of the World Tourism Forum Institute, which is an organization of high-level tourism investment and bringing travel leaders together. He also founded WTFI, which is the World Trade Fund and Investment Vision. And also he provides investment advice for hospitality assets as well. Also, we have Paula, who's on our panel. Paula Tavangar is an entrepreneur, an investment specialist. She actually co-founded Wethop, and she's an Islamic fintech platform, as well as she's on the board of directors of Genesis Capital, where she's the leading high-tech, high-frequency trading division until joining Swissborg Ventures earlier this year to manage the company's portfolio. So thank you, Paula, so much for being here. And last, we have Jamil. Jamil is an accomplished executive with more than 20 years of experience working for Fortune 500 companies across the globe, globally. Companies like Apple, IBM, several other companies out there like HPE, Ernst & Young. So he's been a consultant to his main area of focus has been digital transformation and technology partnerships and investments. He also is a widely known contributor to the Global Innovation Index and Global Connectivity Index. So what we're going to do right now is show you a simple video that Bulut actually created to give you an example of a Metaverse platform. So if you could just show that video that Bulut created, here it is right now. That was an amazing video. Like I said, we're not going to have a boring session. We have amazing hosts up here today. So we're going to start, number one, with the question to Bulut. So can you tell us, Bulut, how is tourism and travel sector basically affected by the metaverse?
Thank you very much, Dex. Also, it's a good honor for us to be speaking at the summit, the Innovation Summit. So I want to give at the first phase, because all of us have been in a hotel, visited a hotel or used a plane, etc., etc. I want to come from the past to today. It's basic. One gentleman, name is Thomas Cook, who found the tourism in 1841. And you know the Thomas Cook travel agent, so it's taking his name as a legend. During that times, there was no internet, there was nothing like this. The people are traveling through the travel checks. 1941. After then, when we come to 1950s, we saw that the people are paying cash, going to travel agents and then paying cash. When the credit cards come in our lives in 2000, after then, the payment system is changed. It means that the generation is changing. When we see like 2000, 2010, the people are starting to do their bookings through the online. You can see, for example, there is one project, Trivago. When the gentleman started to live the project in 2010, it was just a startup, but now it's a $1 billion company. When we come 2020, after the pandemic, what's happened? So there is a new community who is basically living on the metaverse, means that on the game. So, what is happening on this life? So there is a real tourist, and also there is a virtual tourist. So it's irresistible that the people, the companies like the Booking.com, Expedia, Hilton, or all the big travel giants have to be on the new virtual tourist system.
And that's interesting, and that's interesting how that's changed on the tourism side versus 10, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And so on the investment side, Paula, can you tell us a little bit out on the investment side, how has Metaverse changed in things and stories that you've seen on the investment side?
Thank you for the question. I think that right now it's very important to start and address what's happening in the market before talking further to venture capital investments, because as you know, the venture capitals take most of the risk in the market. And now sitting here and talking about metaverse and how we're going to be doing digital payments through the metaverse probably sounds like utopia, because you're looking at your portfolio right now and you're thinking like, how is that possible? I lost 50% since yesterday, and you want to tell me that I'm going to be paying everything digitally going forward. So I feel that we have currently some structural issues in the market, and I feel that there is no enough diversification like in the real life equity markets. So what we're seeing now is like a huge drop everywhere, while it's not supposed to be that way. For example, if you're an owner of a minor company, you're not going to sell your shares just because Netflix dropped in value, right? So I feel that the same goes to all the cryptos and what's happening right now. I feel that if something has actual utility, people would be holding it. Like, we're not going to observe what we're currently observing in the market. So coming from there to Metaverse and to our investments, I think that everybody in the market will start being absolutely more cautious. And of course, it's going to get more competitive, and this is a great opportunity for venture capitals, because in tough markets, people know that, entrepreneurs know that they need to produce solid projects that can sustain any sort of fall. And then I feel that a lot of projects will be out of market, and then we're going to end up with a handful of few. It will be really difficult for them, but I think as a long-term investment would be the best opportunity right now for investors.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And a quick question to the audience. Great question. Thank you. And a quick question from the audience. How many people here, by show of hands, like their privacy? How many people like privacy? Just by show of hands. Privacy. Well, with all this data flying around, we have data everywhere. Data on Facebook, data on Instagram, data everywhere, data in Metaverse. Can you tell us, Jamil, what about the privacy in the Metaverse?
Wow, thank you. Well, I just want to start with the story first.
Absolutely.
So the first thing that I actually got introduced to Metaverse was back in 1994. That's right. If y'all watched Disclosure for Michael Douglas and Demi Moore, if whoever actually sold this movie back then, you probably need to look into when Michael Douglas was set up and he went into the server room. He had to wear on these gloves, walk into the server room, and had the restricted access, and actually Demi Moore, which was his boss, had to kick him out of the server room. Back then, I didn't know that was the Metaverse or a version of the Metaverse. Today, looking back to the future, yes, I watched a lot of movies. Looking back to the future, if you want to think about it, the Metaverse is a wonderful thing. It opens up a box of Pandora, gives us a lot of ideas. It helps the less privileged people to travel, such as in tourism. It helps train our soldiers into the defense sector. It helps retail, us shopping for better clothes, but also it helps us in education. Now in education, I grew up on, back then it was a blackboard and a chalk, and now of course it improved to whiteboard and markers and etc. We were all about theory. When we went into the lab, we were faced with challenges. Today with the Metaverse, people can get help with education. They can get help with practices because the tools are not available. Now this leaves us to very important things: privacy and data. Metaverse needs large data centers. Data centers do take resources from water, from land. Do we have data centers on Earth, which requires lots of cooling, or do we build them in the outer space? That's one thing to think about. How about your data transfer? How about if you get bullied? What do we do in that perspective? If someone conducts a misdemeanor in the Metaverse, if there's a harassment in the Metaverse, are you going to be suing them into Metaverse or in the reality? These are all things to think about, and there are laws and regulations that we have to have today for these.
Thank you so much, Juma. That's amazing. I don't think people think about the legal side of new things that actually come out, because there's a lot of excitement that goes around, but at the end of the day, there are legal issues that are real. And so, and let me ask you, Bulut, what are the good cases that you've seen from Metaverse? Any good cases, any stories?
Yeah, good question. So actually, I want to give one example. In the tourism business, right now, coming from the real world to the virtual world, coming from the real tourist to the virtual tourist, only platform that is serving on the Metaverse, basically tourism is the Ariba. As you watch the video, Ariba Wonderland. So it's going to be on the alpha version very soon. I'm a pre-alpha version next week, and the alpha version end of the year, so we are planning. So, and also it's very strange because I'm from the real world and now coming to the digital world. So all my experience is, I'm on the investor side. Coming from all like the buildings or like the roads, etc. But on the digital side, we are seeing that the generation, the young generation, the needs, the looks, the behaviors are totally different. Who is using this Metaverse or who's using this crypto, basically, or now the new riches, for example. So their needs, their desires, and their perspective to the world is totally different. That's why we are proposing to the world, through the Ariba Wonderland, this is the first Metaverse project in the tourism industry. And the good thing is now we are negotiating with some big giants, and very soon we are going to open some some chapters in the metaverse for these big giants. So how the system will evolve? Of course, our metaverse system is not only metaverse in the tourism business. There will be more rivals in the system. But what will be the result? Like 2010s, when these booking engines are started, like the metaverse programs are starting, and then even this will be the giants like the Booking or Expedia, or like Booking or Expedia will buy them. This is the system that we are forecasting. Thank you.
Absolutely. And that was very interesting, Paula, that you talked about the investment side before. Let me ask you, what are some of the most interesting use cases that you've seen in the metaverse?
Well, for me, I think that we already mentioned a few of them. For me, like the opportunity that Metaverse will give in future is immense. So there are many countries that, because of political issues, certain nationalities can never travel to, or sometimes just because you cannot afford, you cannot see the world, and then it's just gonna open everything in front of you. So then no certain laws will be applying, etc. Will be such freedom, like really the sky is the limit there, as cliche as it might sound. But for now, like what I can talk about more of a short term, what I'm seeing in the market is very interesting, because the metaverse sector is attracting huge amount of investment. So if a company in the normal tech sector, let's say, is raising 1 million in seed capital, company in crypto is raising 5 million, Metaverse is probably raising like 15 million. So this, of course, gives them a lot of capital for HR to employ developers. So I think that this is one of the fastest growing sectors I have ever seen. So you're talking to projects, and 1 month ago they almost had nothing, and then 1 month after, you cannot believe that this is the same project you're talking to. And as a trend, even I can say that just a few months ago, people were focusing a lot, like entrepreneurs were focusing on properties, on properties consortiums, and then it evolved to some technology, spatial computation. Now I'm already seeing like very developed digital pets. And actually digital pet sounds like something super cute, but it's just the basic technology for our own digital identity and how we're going to be moving in the space in Metaverse. So they're developing really crucial technology. So a lot happening in the sector.
And a lot of times, you know, a lot of definitions of words change. You guys remember years ago, you used to talk about the internet as the World Wide Web. You used to say www for the World Wide Web. Well, I think in the future, and maybe Jamil, you could talk about that. What do you think the word metaverse could change to or evolve into instead of metaverse? Because like I said, we started out with www for World Wide Web, and we all hung on that for years, and now nobody says that anymore.
It was the super fast highway back then, right?
Yes.
The super fast highway. Honestly, I don't know. It's a lot of honestly possibilities. But let's say today, what would the metaverse give us? Who has in the audience used social media such as, or social, communication such as Zoom, WebEx, etc.? Anybody? Everybody? Yep. Sure, great. Now in the metaverse, we have avatars, holograms. You will start interacting with your office mates through your hologram, and you will start interacting better and having a 3D communication instead of a 2D communication. That's a wonderful thing for us from a user experience. But again, are we today equipped, and are we equipped for the future to build the metaverse? As a responsible investor and a parent, I do have also concerns about the future. It's not really nice and rosy out there. The truth is we have to be equipped and prepare ourselves with the data privacy, security, that's one thing. And we have to understand where is and how is our data being used. But today, as of today, people can be whoever they want to be in the metaverse. If, for people that are less fortunate or disabled, they can actually be a better version of themselves. So is the metaverse bad for humanity, or is it good? Does it make us more human again? Because some cultures actually do look, sadly, do not support actually people who are less fortunate. So the metaverse can give them a chance. And it's all about building a better chance for the future. After all, we use technology to be human again.
Absolutely. And the big takeaways from what you heard today was really about the investment side, the opportunities as far as investment side that Paula mentioned, and the risks that Jamil mentioned when it comes to privacy, and that's a big risk in data. And of course, the changes that Bulut talked about when it came to how technology changed from 10 years ago till the future. So at the end of the day, I think this was an amazing panel, and I'm really excited that we did this today. So we thank you for listening to us today. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.